Good afternoon to the people of these beautiful Virgin Islands. I greet you in the midst of this global pandemic, which has taken us into what the Premier has termed the new regular, where we have to adapt, live, and work with COVID-19. Today, I make this statement as the Minister responsible for Labor and Immigration Matters. My objective is to bring information and clarity to you, the people and businesses of the territory. I will be touching on several topics which I will announce before expanding on. My first topic is employment, layoff, and termination. As a reminder, COVID-19 has brought about changes in our way of life, which many of us never thought would happen. This is the same reality for many governments and people around the world who are reeling from the effects of the coronavirus. The new regular in the BVI means that social distancing, standing 6 feet apart from each other, will be a way of life for the foreseeable future. And therefore, the way we do business must change. Operating in the new regular has changed the face of employment and how we will do business, not only here in the Virgin Islands, but across the globe. Officers from both the Department of Labor and Workforce Development and the Immigration Department are now part of the Ministry of Health's Business Inspection Task Force and have begun inspections to allow businesses to be able to resume operations during the soft curfew. This is expected to continue throughout the entire phased reopening of the BVI. However, we are mindful that a number of job functions are on hold as employers try to work out the details to accommodate the new regular. And in many cases, persons have had to be laid off. This should be reported to the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, where the employer will receive further instructions on the way forward. I would like to remind employers to be considerate of your employees by notifying them first of any changes to their employment agreement prior to contacting the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. It is only fair. Additionally, during the layoff period, employee bonds with the Immigration Department remain active, and therefore these employees remain your responsibility. In true BVI love, it will be my hope that you continue to correspond and work on ways in which they can return into your full employ. Statistics, layoff and termination. Let us talk about the statistics that is needed as we assess those who have been laid off or terminated. To date, approximately 77 businesses have contacted the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. Approximately 33 of these have reported closures, and approximately 683 persons have been reported as laid off. Some persons have been reassigned or reclassified as it relates to position and or salary, and approximately 72 persons have been terminated throughout the territory. Of the approximate 1,300 employees reported to have been affected, 425 are BVI landers or belongers, 493 are work permit holders, 80 are work permit exempt, and over 330 of those persons are still being classified. As you would well imagine, like the rest of the world, the tourism industry is the hardest hit at this time, with the tourism industry being one of our most important economic pillars, which accounts for a large cross-section of workers in the territory. Any loss in the industry is not only difficult for that sector, but for the economy in general. As Minister responsible for labor, I am aware of the economic burden the COVID-19 pandemic has brought to our shores. However, I would like to appeal to businesses to submit your information to the Department of Labor and Workforce Development to assist with the accuracy of our assessment. Premier and Minister of Finance, Honourable Andrew A. Foy, has previously stated that an economic and fiscal task force has been set up and charged with developing a policy to guide the BVI's COVID-19 stimulus initiative, which would benefit businesses as well as employees alike. The Premier and Minister of Finance has already announced that Cabinet has approved the template of the economic stimulus plan. The details of the stimulus plan will be made public very soon by our Premier. In the interim, I want to remind business owners and employees that your ability to report your business and employment status to the Department of Labor and Workforce Development and the Immigration Department to assist the government in making sure that a stimulus plan takes you who have been affected into account. Such data is critical to our decision-making as a government, so we need you to actively participate in the process. Layoff period. As government continues to meet, to make decisions that will benefit all persons residing in the BVI, we have recognized that the Labor Code 2010, Section 104.3 and 107 speaks to, if an employee is laid off for more than 3 months without a date for re-employment, this person is entitled to severance pay if terminated. In times of disaster, and in this case, a global pandemic, there should be legislation to address the specific national situation, which we realize is lacking at this time. The great burden on businesses to identify the necessary funding for severance and on employees to seek alternative employment where applicable is evident. In light of this, and in an effort to aid in the continuation of employment where practicable, especially for the tourism industry, before Cabinet right now is a request for an amendment to the Labor Code 2010 to address an increase to the layoff period. People of the Virgin Islands, this, though a small step in allowing ease of employment and increased diversification of the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, is a step in the right direction in aiding our people when they need it most. Once completed, the Immigration Department will work hand in hand with the Department of Labor and Workforce Development to allow for the smooth processing of qualifying businesses and employees once the relevant information is received and all qualifying criteria are met. Disputes. Let's talk about disputes. Although the parameters for layoff and termination have been set, we recognize that there may be employees who may feel that they were not handled in an appropriate manner, and these matters should be heard and addressed. The Department of Labor and Workforce Development Disputes Unit is here to better serve you, the workers of the Virgin Islands. If you are in need of assistance with a dispute please email labor@gov.vg. That is LABOUR@gov.vg, so that an appointment can be set for your teleconference meeting with a disputes officer within the department. Work permits. I would like to take this time to comfort work permit holders who are currently categorized as inactive due to an expired entry permit known to the wider public as immigration time and work permit. The Immigration Department and the Department of Labor and Workforce Development will not penalize anyone whose work permit has expired during a mandatory lockdown period. To go one step further, businesses and employees are informed that employees whose work entry permit, known as immigration time, that have expired immediately prior to or during a 24-hour curfew need not seek an extension from Immigration Department prior to submitting your work permit renewal to the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. Both departments will work together to regularize these persons once they have not been terminated by their employer. Let me repeat that. To go one step further, businesses and employees are informed that employees whose entry permit, known as immigration time, that have expired immediately prior to or during a 24-hour curfew need not seek an extension from the Immigration Department prior to submitting your work permit renewal to the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. Both departments will work together to regularize these persons once they have not been terminated by their employer. Furthermore, persons who have been laid off should make an appointment to visit the Immigration Department so that you may be given the necessary extensions to make sure you are legally residing in the territory. Suspended issuance of work permits and issuance of additional clearances. As the public has been made aware, the borders of the Virgin Islands have been closed until June 2020, at which time a phased opening will be initiated to only receive BV Islanders, belongers, and person holding certificates of residency for the BVI. In addition to this, government has also suspended the acceptance and issuance of new work permits, temporary work permits, and periodic work permit applications until 31st July 2020 in the first instance. However, we will continue to accept and process change of employer and change of position work permits for persons already residing in the territory. Cabinet has also suspended the issuance of joint clearances for persons with approved work permits. Additionally, I am mindful of persons who may have received clearances prior to the restrictions of travel and full lockdown of the territory, and have received Cabinet's approval to extend the internal policy as it relates to the issuance of clearances. Therefore, the Immigration and Labor and Workforce Development Departments can now issue a maximum of two reissuances of work permit clearances for any person in possession of a valid clearance who was unable to travel due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent airport closures and restrictions on travel. This would allow an intended employee to have a total of up to 9 months before work permits become invalid. conditional permits. Persons residing in the BVI who have been terminated and would like to seek alternative employment will have the option to apply to the acting Chief Immigration Officer for the option to receive a conditional permit under Section 31, 1C, and 31A, 1A of the Immigration and Passport Amendment Act 2016, which will allow for qualifying persons, that is, persons residing for a period of 5 years and having a previous conditional permit within and not having a previous conditional permit within the last 3 years to remain in the BVI while seeking employment for a period of 3 months. However, we are mindful that not all employees who have been terminated will qualify for such a permit. I am cognizant of the fact that this may require some non-BVI employees to leave the territory if no viable job opportunities are readily available to them. I however want to state that while we know that other jurisdictions are already asking persons on work permits and not currently working to leave during this time, the BVI government is not requesting anyone to leave at this time. We will continue for as long as we can to assist you, our brothers and sisters of the wider Caribbean, mainland US, Europe, and other parts of the world during this unprecedented and unpredictable time. I am also working with my team to give assistance to workers who may want to return to these beautiful Virgin Islands to reestablish your healthy contribution to our territory. Visitors, expired landing permits. The closure of ports across the territory was a significant move in the government's fight against the introduction and spread of COVID-19 to the BVI. This, however, restricted the outward travel of visitors who are within our borders experiencing nature's little secrets. I would again like to notify the visiting public, who all by now would have invalid or expired landing permits, that they will not be penalized, as this was a matter beyond your control. However, the Immigration Department does understand the need for this to be regularized. Understanding the urgency to regularize our visitors, as well as to prepare for them to depart, the Immigration Department will dedicate its time during the week of May 4th to these persons mainly. Beginning Friday, May 1st, 2020, these persons will receive contact from the Immigration Department to reschedule appointments for the coming week. However, if there are persons who have not been previously contacted by the Immigration Department, please contact us at immigrationinfo@gov.vg. That is, contact us at immigrationinfo@gov.vg to secure your appointment. I would like to thank these visitors who have become temporary residents due to all measures to safeguard our territory. I would like to thank you for your patience during this time as we aim to process you quickly, but most importantly, safely. The Ministry of Labor and Immigration, along with the Immigration and Labor and Workforce Development departments, are cognizant of the many outstanding matters that would need our urgent attention at this time. However, it is important that you, the general public, adhere to the scheduled days and times for visiting these departments. And more importantly, we expect that persons will adhere to the social distancing requirements of each department by making appointments. To make appointments with the Immigration Department, please call 468-4703, 468-4703, 4705, 468 4752, or 468 9639 on Tortola, or 468 6520, or 468 6521, and 468 6606 on Virgin Gorda. The numbers should be on your screen. To make appointments with the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, please call 468-4708, 468-4707 on Tortola, and 468-6525 on Virgin Gorda. To better serve you while maintaining physical and social distancing and safer operations, both departments have initiated a joint schedule for seamless transition for persons needing services from both departments, beginning at 8 a.m. and ending at 12:30 daily. The schedules will be submitted by each department to allow for your safety to be maintained. Please adhere to these notices when published. Suspension of orientation sessions. As we have reorganized our services, we also want businesses to note that all orientation sessions for employers and employees within the Immigration Department and the Department of Labor and Workforce Development have been suspended until further notice. To aid employers and employees with the requirements and rules of both departments, handouts and the use of technology will be heavily utilized. I would like to reiterate that the new regular of no walk-in customers will be the mode of operation at this time, and all persons are required to make appointments by phone prior to visiting the departments for any service. Again, the contact numbers to make appointments with the Immigration Department are 468-4703, 468-4705, 468-4752, 468-9639 on Tortola, and 468-6520, 468-6521, or 468-6606 on Virgin Gorda. To make appointments with the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, please call 468-4708, 468-4707 on Tortola, and 468-6525 on Virgin Gorda. Border Management System Update. On December 2nd, 2019, the government of the Virgin Islands signed a contract with Canada Banknote, CBN, for the development of a border management and e-visa system to be used both by the Immigration Department and Civil Registry and Passport Office to better track the movement of persons throughout BVI borders, as well as to digitize the visa issuing system. On January 2000, CBN visited to host Phase 1 project kickoff sessions, and the term proceeded to be ahead of schedule. Phase 1 should have been completed and launched by 8th May 2020. However, due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and travel restrictions, the team was unable to install and commission equipment necessary for the use of the system. Nevertheless, the project team is forging ahead with works on areas within other phases of the project, allowing it to be advanced and ready to launch immediately following the lift of travel restrictions. Work Permit Online System. The Department of Labor and Workforce Development and the Immigration Department has been working tirelessly and were well advanced in the ability to launch the Work Permit Online System prior to COVID-19 pandemic, at which time the departments were awaiting approval by the House of Assembly for a suite of legislation to allow for the online document collection and payment transactions to take place. Once these are passed, the Department of Labor and Workforce Development will be able to launch the system for use by their clients. As minister, I am keen on having this system put into place, as it will aid greatly in the advancement of work permits processing at this very critical time. My team continues to work closely with Genovation Solutions, consultants, and creators of the system so that we're able to launch before the end of this quarter. In conclusion, in a time when the world grapples with this pandemic, we must be cognizant that we are not exempt from the harsh realities of its effects on employment. Nevertheless, we will continue to work as a government to assist in a smooth and comfortable transition of our working population into the next phase of this new regular. As Minister for Labor and Immigration, I will continue to put the plow to the ground for you, the people of this territory, in making sure that the decisions made relative to the working populace will be in the best interest of this territory and its people. Please continue to remain safe during this time by practicing social distancing, washing your hands, wearing masks, and following all other guidelines as set out by the government to safeguard your life. Be good stewards by maintaining the curfew hours, and most of all, continue to be patient as we work together to get through this period. Business owners, please remember, no mask, no service. You must ensure that you have clear and visible physical markers of 6 feet inside and outside of your facilities in order to do business in a safe manner in this new regular. To the people of the BVI, put on your mask, practice social distancing, regularly wash your hands for 20 seconds or more with soap and water. Respect all laws and our environment. Keep it clean and pristine. Let us all keep each other safe because we are in this together. This too shall pass. May God continue to bless you all, and may God continue to bless these beautiful Virgin Islands. I thank you for listening.